the latest episode of the Sitcom Archive Deep Dive Overdrive. That's the SADDO podcast. We are a listen-along podcast as you watch The Good Life, the series that everybody loves from the 70s. We're now up to Series 3, Episode 2, The Happy Event. I'm Alison Barton-Simmons.
Hello. Oh, no, what do I usually say? Now then.
Now then.
I'm so groggy. Now then. I'm Eggs Benedict. Sorry about that. I'll get with it in a minute.
So yeah, we're well past the halfway mark now, Ben, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And we're up to the second episode in this third series.
Don't worry, someone will correct us. There's been lots of corrections this week.
Which we like.
We do. We like to know what we got wrong.
Because it means people are out there, which is lovely.
Shall I tell you about some corrections?
Yes, please. I'd like to know the corrections.
Well, first up, we often realise we've got it wrong straight afterwards, but we don't go and re-record it because that would be very time-consuming.
We'd still be on episode 1.
We would. Last week, we couldn't remember who the guy who was a bit like Terry Thomas was, but it came to me almost immediately after I finished recording. It's Leslie Phillips, isn't it?
Is he the hello guy?
Yeah. Incredibly still going, even though he's about 96.
Wow.
That's Leslie Phillips. We've also had some corrections about our inflation calculations.
Really?
Yeah. Two people have been in touch to say your inflation calculation was wrong. It was your inflation calculation from a while ago.
Is it where they went out for a meal?
Yeah, from the Pagan Right. They didn't like it.
All right.
And then one of them took the time to explain to me what it should actually be, but it made no sense to me. So, I mean, at the end of the day, all we can say is how much is anything worth, really?
Exactly. For them, it was worth a fortune, that night out.
It was. You look at a £10 note, does it still say, like, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of £10? Does it still say that on it?
I think so, yeah.
But, I mean, £10 or what? Because good luck exchanging that for gold, sovereigns.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen, is it? Could be £10 of anything. I mean, if you actually went into a... Sorry, my meandering mind's gone off on one now. You went into a bank and asked for £10 to have what this £10 was worth, they wouldn't give you anything, would they?
I think probably just £10 coins.
Yeah, just to change it, yeah. I mean,
that's it.
like
That's all they'd be able to do.
of dime bars or... I mean, could be... And what I'm trying to say is things are just worth what you're willing to pay for them.
Yes, that's very true.
I suppose it would have to be like... it would have to be like...
Dime bars.
It would have to be like a natural commodity that was rare. So maybe not dime bars.
No, there's quite a lot of them, I think.
Oil's getting rare.
Yeah.
White dog shit.
It's not, just can't find it anymore.
Imagine that. Imagine we could all exchange notes for white dog shit that had been saved from the 80s in a vault. I'll move on. I'll move on.
I'd still have none. Just no white dog shit for me.
No, you keep them. You keep the paper.
Yeah.
So we've had corrections and we do like it. Do tell us what we missed, because sometimes we might miss things that we don't then realise we missed through our own stupidity. We like that. Now, before we get stuck into this week's episode, how would you like to play a quiz? I know that it's not your strong suit.
Yes, I would love to play a quiz.
This one you can't get wrong, because
thanks, Ben.
This quiz is not a right or wrong. It is a how Ledbetter are you quiz.
Oh, right.
Which I've pilfered from the Sunday Times from an article called Be More Margo.
Oh, cripes. Right, okay.
Right, the idea behind this game is you decide all the statements you agree with and then add up your total, okay?
Oh, right, yeah.
So if you agree with any of these statements, just put a tick on your tally bar and we'll... Okay. Question 1. You tidy before the cleaner comes, then go around after she's been correcting her cushion arrangements.
Right, okay.
Number 2. You secretly think that Nigel Farage has a point, but wouldn't dream of saying so aloud.
Okay.
Did I just see what I thought I saw? You had a wedding list at John Lewis.
Okay.
You are an expert at turning on your heel.
What does that mean? Just spinning round?
Oh, it's a bit like when she says, goodbye. Just
goodbye.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're always outraged by your Ocado substitutes. I don't even know what that means, but I've just read it out anyway. You think the posh couple on Gogglebox look like great fun. You buy Cook or Charlie Bigham's ready meals, but decant them into crockery before you let yourself eat any. Question 8. You roped everyone at work into doing a charity fun run. 9. You have complained to Amazon, British Airways and Barclays about their customer service. Extra point if you use the word unacceptable. You have held conversations about the mansion tax. Your motivation for wearing matching underwear is still the possibility of getting hit by a bus. Now, I don't think that's particularly Margo-esque, to be honest, because working class mothers said that to children all through the ages. We're on the home straight. You organised a petition against the new neighbours' planning application and bullied your other neighbours into signing it. You own a Lazy Susan. You wish it was... You wish it was still normal to wear a rain bonnet. And finally, you would rather eat horse than anything from Greg's.
Right, I've got all my answers.
Okay. So just tell me tot them up and tell me how many.
I've got 3 ticks and a question mark.
Oh, well. You'll probably be happy with the result then, much as you love her. You don't really want to be her, do you?
No, not really.
You are in the 0 to 5 category, not much Margo.
Okay, I'll take that.
You have very little Ledbetter in you, not necessarily a bad thing, although to quote Margo on Barbara, you might be a woman who actually enjoys being ordered about by men.
Oh, no.
Which is in this episode, isn't it?
Yeah. I have a rain bonnet. We have a Lazy Susan, but our family called it a Party Susan. And it was like a spinny round tray that you put all your bits and pieces in at a buffet.
That sounds a lot more fun than a Lazy Susan.
I know, I don't know why we called it a Party Susan. We had a lot of things like that where I only realised when I went out in the big world that there was lots of Bartonisms that existed, things that only we said and nobody else said, and I got laughed at quite a lot.
Oh well.
I can't think what my question mark one was. What was the fourth from the end?
Petition about planning application.
Oh yeah, there was a guy that lives nearby that bought a little bungalow and wanted to squeeze about 50 houses onto like one plot, and we got a bit cross about that round here.
Well, that won't do in the Avenue, will it?
No, it won't do in the Avenue. Oh, and the underwear and getting run over thing, yeah. I think all family, all mums say that.
You're quite close to being a dormant Margo.
Am I? Oh, a dormant Margo.
If you ticked yes to number 9, you will grow more Margo with age. Which is,
God.
I don't know, did you tick yes to this? You've complained to Amazon, British Airways or Barclays?
No, because everyone has a bad day, don't they?
Well, you're safe then. You're safe.
Yeah.
I'm also not much Margo.
Are you not?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. I got 3 out of the 15. So there we go.
Same. Yeah. Oh, thank you very much for that, and I'm glad that I didn't lose.
Thank you to the Sunday Times for printing that, and sorry that I used my Chrome plugin to get past the paywall. Let's get stuck into the happy event, shall we?
Excellent. Let's do that.
Good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life.
So we're right past the halfway mark with Series 3, Episode 2, The Happy Event. The continuing saga of the pigs.
Did you see that episode where the pig was going to have a baby? Now, that was quite a promising idea. But it was all done so bloody nicely. We didn't see anything.
This episode had 15.4 million viewers, according to Wikipedia, which is the episode with the most viewers so far, which I thought was quite interesting.
Oh, well, there we go.
Not as much as I think it's one of the later episodes in this series, which is, I think it's up into like the 17 million figures, which is huge, isn't it? It's huge. So, yeah, this episode, we are back with the pigs. The pig that had the pig pimp a few weeks back is now having its piglets, which is very exciting. So we're in Tom's kitchen, Tom and Barbara's kitchen, and he's busy doing his taxes, which take no time at all because he's earning no money. And he's asked Jerry to get him a book from the library that is going to aid him in birthing these pigs in the garden. And Jerry pops round while they're busy. Tom and Barbara are busy mixing germinated seeds with wallpaper paste, which I didn't know if that was sounding like a good idea.
I don't know the science behind it. They didn't really go into it, did they?
Wallpaper paste was something that like when you're a kid and you're told like not to sit near the gas fire because your nightie will ignite. Yeah. Maybe you didn't get told that, but there were certain things that like you just don't touch and you keep away from. Don't like fireworks. Don't go back to a lit firework, which is very sensible. But there's things that have like been imprinted on my brain as things that you just don't do. And even now as an adult, I'm frightened of wallpaper paste. I don't know what it is that my parents drummed into me. But the thought of growing vegetables basted in wallpaper paste, it frightened me a little bit. Like it would, I don't know, like poison you. I'm sure there's like a poison in it. There's something that eventually becomes poisonous in wallpaper paste.
This sounds like your homework for next week to me.
Yes, I will discover what the answer is about the wallpaper paste.
Okay.
So yeah, the squeezing the germinated seeds into the wallpaper paste and then using that as like a medium in order to plant them efficiently. So they don't need to thin them out. And it's an efficient way of doing it, apparently. So that's their job first thing in the morning, which Jerry didn't want to get involved in.
Well, while they're doing
funnily enough.
Yeah, he didn't, did he? He's in full deadpan snark mode in this episode, which I liked.
Yes.
He's total curmudgeon, isn't he? And I like Jerry the curmudgeon because I think he's hysterical. He's not.
He is.
He's had it with his shit, basically, in this episode, hasn't he? All through, he's not happy.
Yeah.
But when the goods are in the garden actually putting this into practice, did you notice that Margo's actually doing something useful rather than just messing about with a magic lamp?
She's putting bedding out plants out in the... She's like on her knees, isn't she? Putting out some... bedding out plants, and Tom makes a joke about her being on her knees on a prayer mat, and Margot's reaction to it, it's almost like she's sort of coming into her own now in terms of judging whether Tom is joking or not, and not being dragged along as part of the joke. She's just like, oh yeah, it's one of your little jokes, isn't it? And just humours him.
Oh, I see, one of your jokes. Very good.
And I quite like that. I quite like that she sort of stops him in his tracks. I
also liked her ornate wheelbarrow. I thought that was... Yes. I don't know if you were going to mention that in the fashion corner. It's not really fashion, is it? But it was nice.
Accessory.
Yeah, it was nice.
Bracelets, necklaces, wheelbarrows. She's got them all. She's got them all. So she's staring over the fence, as we often see Margo doing, and she's very confused as to what the goods are doing. And she does that little thing, even though they're best friends. She sort of coughs to get attention, rather than just going, "What are you doing, Barbara?" She's still so sort of that far back that she's proper. She's got to cough to get their attention. And then she goes back to her marigolds, because obviously she's no interest in planting radish seeds in wallpaper paste.
But not before she's laughed at Barbara falling off the pram.
Yes. Oh, the little pram with the pram wheels and getting shown up, falling off it.
It wasn't particularly funny, that, but I did like the fact that they used some classic sort of 60s pratfall music to accompany.
Yep, as she tumbled off it.
Junk, let me tell you, Margo, that trolley will still be going when your flashy estate car is up for scrap.
Yes, right. Look at this. Look at this. Wonderful. Built to last, that is.
Yeah, Margo goes back to her marigolds and she says, "I won't crow as it's not in my nature," which really tickled me, because it absolutely is.
Ooh, I like Richard Bryars. I like Richard Bryars. I like Richard Bryars. I like Richard Bryars.
We're next in the front room where Tom is poring over a book, reading more about how to deliver these pigs. And Barbara comes flying in because she solved their transport problem. What did you think that she might have done? before you have the big reveal.
Well, I remembered, so I thought
Did you not? Oh, right, okay.
I thought to myself, I bet it's a horse called Brian.
And you'd have been right. It was a horse called Brian. So yeah, she's used her womanly ways of wiggling her hips and has managed to con Mr. Betts, the coalman, out of a horse that Barbara sort of insists that they'll be able to use to deliver things and take things around and use it as transport. But straight away, Tom is adamant that that's not something that they can do because it will cost them money. Which in their lifestyle, which we find out later on as well in this episode, is all about just keeping things efficient and not costing them anything. Because once things start to cost them, the whole project is out the window because it goes against everything that you need to sort of stick by as you go along.
And he's right, isn't he? He's right.
He is right.
He's just horrible in the way he does it. He's all. It's not sensible, is it? Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? And it's just like, oh, you don't have to be so obnoxious about it, you turd.
Knowing that Barbara loves animals so much.
Yeah, and she's
again, as we find out later on, she's just kind.
And she's
and
made
caring.
up to be given this. I mean, you've got to ask the question: how much leaning and hip work would you have to do
It's
to
a lot of hip
score
work, I think,
free
for a big horse.
Yeah, I think maybe she's euphemising. I wonder what she's been up to with the fella, but. Either way, she's used a feminine wild, she's been offered a horse, and he's just shot it down straight away. He could have done it a bit more tactfully or a bit more kindly, couldn't he?
I think so. Margo, however, has other ideas for Brian the horse, and she is already envisioning Barbara and Brian cantering alongside herself and the pony club down the canal path after a hard day's labour. So she's already signing Barbara up to the pony club.
Yep, she's name dropped Mrs. Dooms Patterson.
Yeah,
which is nice to see this invisible character make her invisible entry to the show.
I can picture it in my mind. How do you picture her?
Well, she's a big lass, isn't she?
Yeah, but is she quite small? I sort of picture her with like little legs that like widdle as she walks.
I don't know. She's a bit of a batlax in my mind. She's not.
Okay.
She's not big and pretty like Dawn French, for example. Do you know what I mean? She's big and scary.
Yes. Yeah, quite aggressive for a pony club.
Yeah. So she gets a mention, but the main crux of it is just to establish that Margo is in the pony club and sees an opportunity for Barbara to join her in the pony club and make her upwardly mobile in that society, I think. She's always trying to lead them back into sort of polite society.
Absolutely, yeah.
But one way or another, isn't she?
Yeah. And for her, the pony club is the way forward. However, when Barbara tells Margo that Tom's already put the kibosh on it, it's not something that they're going to be able to do, before she has a chance to sort of explain why that is, Margo straight away is jumping on Tom as being a bully, and the woman can't have her say, she can't have what she wants, and she's quite sort of taken aback by this, Margo. She's very upset about it.
She's created a bit of her own narrative there, hasn't she? She likes to
sometimes... She has again.
Yeah, she's a terrible straw man argument proliferator, isn't she? And she does this with Jerry all the time. She's basically deluding herself that it's all about the patriarchy, whereas with Tom, to be fair, even though he's different times, he's definitely sexist, has his sexist moments, it's mainly about common sense, isn't it?
Yes. This whole premise, this whole the final agreement that they come to is all based on just sensible and detached decision making, isn't it? Which is what the whole lifestyle's about. I don't think you can be exactly sentimental.
Even though Barbara briefly sulked with Tom, by the time Margo arrived, she'd seen it for herself, and she wasn't.
It was all right.
She was basically saying, "No, I can't have the horse. The horse is going." You know.
Yep. So next, in Margo and Jerry's house, the front doorbell's going like, it was just like off the hook, weren't it? Just ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, yeah.
Which frightens Margo a bit, and she says to Jerry, don't answer it until you've put the latch on. And then Jerry just shouts, "Shut up!"
Yeah, I enjoyed
to
that
Margo.
bit.
It was brill. That was fab. In fact, can you will you be able to drop that in?
Sure I can.
It did tickle me that much.
Who is it, Jerry? Who is it?
How the hell should I know?
Well, put the chain on before you open the door.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'm laughing just thinking about it. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up. The pigs in labour. This is the big news. The pig's in labour. So Barbara's had to go round in order to borrow a light so that they can see the pig, the expectant mother.
But she's gone round to borrow a light, but she's also borrowed Jerry to hold it.
Jerry, yes, a holder and a light.
And he's stood there just making sarcastic remarks.
He did in his very posh slippers, which he's a bit gutted about because he can just see what's coming and all sorts of muck all over his expensive slippers. But yeah, he's there. And again, I quite like the fact that it's about the Ledbetters stepping in again, no matter what they believe, no matter what their thoughts are on this lifestyle. They're always there at the right moment, aren't they? Just to help her, lend a helping hand. And they're lovely.
Well, particularly
they're such
Jerry.
good friends.
Because when Margo appears, she probably only went out there to admonish Jerry for leaving the door open.
Leaving the door open, yeah. And like he says, she could have just shut it herself.
Yeah.
6 so far, Margo.
Congratulations. Don't you ever tell me to shut up again, Jerry.
Well, I haven't got X-ray eyes, have I? I can't see through a door.
Hold the light still.
And I will thank you not to go out in the middle of the night and leave the front door open. Anything could have happened.
Yes, you could have got up and shut it.
Oh, dear me. So we've got 7 piglets so far, and Margo says, surely that's enough. As if like you could put just hammer a cork in and that's the end. But the last one is a runt. It's the runt of the litter, which is often the small, just the one that's not flourished as much as the other piglets.
I don't know what a runt really is. What is wrong with the runt?
It's the one that's not grown as much as the others. It's just, it's not had the nourishment that the other piglets have had. So they're all like big, I was going to say beefy piglets, but that's not right. Porky piglets.
Right.
And the last one is the one that's just probably not had the same internal care and attention, shall we say, as the others.
He's functioning. He's got 4 legs and everything. He's just a bit sickly.
Yeah, but it's sickly. Yeah, and sort of in farming communities, it's the one that you just leave. So again, like Brian the horse, Tom was right. It was a case of you just leave it and see what happens, and if it makes it through, then it's great, and if it doesn't, well, that's that sorted. And it does sound sad and sort of callous, but
well, Barbara gets fierce on his ass, doesn't she?
Yeah, she does. She gets very upset about the prospect of this runt being left. But again, Jerry steps into sort of Superman mode, and he and Barbara are in the car off to the hospital to get some oxygen to give to this little runty pig.
Yeah, but you think about Jerry's car, which he takes pride in. It's had the goat in.
Yeah.
It's had all sorts of deliverables in for the goods. Now it's going to be covered in pig afterbirth.
Yeah. He's such a good friend, isn't he? He really does put everything to one side.
Yeah.
When it comes to the goods.
I mean, he's not happy. Like I said earlier, he's not happy in this entire episode. He's driving and he's not happy, and then when the copper comes along, he's snarky with the copper, which is, again, really funny. But I enjoyed the funky music that accompanied this Mercy dash. It's great, wasn't it?
I was trying to... It felt familiar, and I was looking at where it was... Whether you know, like sometimes they take funky music, but then drop in sort of like a real tune as well, and I was wondering whether it was like a police TV show that they'd sort of cribbed a bit of the theme tune from, and I wasn't sure if it might have been a bit of Z-Cars in there, you know, because of the police. I don't know if anybody else listening to it sort of put those two things together. I could hear the Z-Cars theme tune. I might have just been
I definitely didn't. I'd have recognised that because Everton run out to it.
Would you?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. It just felt that there was something going on in the background. Anyway, Tom in the meantime has told Margo to go and grab some brandy. to put in the milk to give to the pigs to try and revive it and bring it round. Margot's a bit flustered because she's not sure which of the brands, the top end brands of brandy that she's got to bring round. But she goes and does that again. She's just so helpful when it's needed.
You know that where she says Remy Martin or Hein? That reminded me, just segue a little bit here, of the time my uncle was up. He was cleaning his mother-in-law's gutters of leaves.
Right.
And there was more than he expected up there. So he's up there and he's got all these leaves. And his mother-in-law, dotty old bird, is at the bottom. And he says, just go and get us a bag for all of these. And he's up this ladder, like, bag full of leaves. And she says, what do you mean a bag? He says, just go and get us like a Tesco bag. She disappears and he's there with his leaves waiting. He's getting really irate and everything. And she comes back like 10 minutes later. And she says, I looked all over, I couldn't find one, so I've grabbed this SADDO one instead. She'd been looking explicitly for a Tesco bag. Anyway.
Jerry and Barbara arrive quite soon after with... How feasible, I don't know how feasible this would be in real life to just zoom off to a hospital to come back with an oxygen tank for your runty pig. I don't know whether in the 70s it was more available.
What got me was how quickly the coppers swallowed their excuse when it was offered by Barbara, because it seemed a bit unlikely, and he was just like, "Oh, great, I can do put me siren."
I think he just wanted to do like a siren thing.
It was middle of the night. There was no way that needed clearing anyway. He just wanted to get involved, didn't he? I think
be involved. Yeah.
Even the policeman was nice.
So they arrive back. Tom has put together an oxygen tent as well in the meantime.
Yeah. To
put the pig in and then to sort of like put the oxygen into to sort of to try and revive this pig. Margot's busy heating up the milk to add the brandy to, and she's got one of Jerry's new cashmere jumpers to wrap the pig in. So it's very decadent. Brandy, cashmere jumpers.
You've got to wonder whether all of these actions, how accurate the measures are, would be in real life if you were trying to save a piglet.
Yeah.
Brandy and cashmere, I don't think would cut the mustard. Do you?
I don't think it would.
But when Margot's feeding the runt, that smile, she's got such a beautiful smile when she's happy.
I know.
It's lovely. She's so happy when she's feeding the runt.
Yeah. Oh.
And Tom, of course, is being very short with Margo, who's doing her best, but, it's not even her responsibility. So Tom wants, I know I'm a stuck record, but he's being an arse. He's sort of being really short with her, and she's just trying her best. But as we come back to later, she responds quite uncharacteristically to being bossed around. She sort of, it's almost like Tom's pulled rank, and she's like, yes, Tom. It's very uncharacteristic, isn't it?
Yeah, just gets on with it after what she was saying about Brian the horse and Barbara not being able to keep him.
Yeah, the other weird thing that she says at this moment is, for the first time in the entire series, wife swapping is explicitly mentioned in this scene.
It is, yes.
Because she says it's not made it to Surbiton, but it's gone as far as Epsom.
She's very, very knowledgeable about the topic, isn't she?
Well, wasn't she off with Denzel and Brianna or whatever it was last week? I reckon they were living in Epsom. That's where she's been. And that's probably how she knows. Yeah, there's a definite undercurrent here.
Do they have, I don't know how I know this, pampas grass? Do you know what that is?
No.
It's like, in the 70s, a lot of houses had it you can cut this out if you think it's ridiculous. Pampas grass, was often seen in front gardens, and it's like that. It looks like big versions of ears of wheat.
Oh, yeah.
Like big long sticks with the big bushy top bit on.
Right.
And apparently, and this is like an urban myth, if you had that in your front garden, you were a swinger.
Really?
Well, I don't know if this is like a very, very local legend that I've just made up. But if it was in your front garden, you were a swinger. So I don't know if they had pampas grass in the
Did the Barton household have this product?
We never had pampas grass.
Right.
Hells no. No pampas grass.
That's interesting.
At our house.
I've never heard of it.
But yeah. No, nobody has, I don't think. I think I might have just made that up. But I have heard it somewhere.
Sounds like a wind-up someone's played on you.
Possibly. I'm very gullible.
Yes, Yuletide felicitations, as Margo would say.
And because we don't want you to do without this Christmas, we've got an exciting giveaway for you, just in case Harrods have let you down with your Christmas hamper delivery.
Yes, we don't want you to have to go and spend Christmas with Tom and Barbara with the telegraph folded up on your head.
The ooh-ah bird is so called because it lays square eggs.
I don't understand that.
So because we care and we are such good eggs,
Just like Jerry.
we're giving away a cool, minimalistic Good Life poster, plus some Good Life-inspired mid-century bark cloth cushion covers for free to a lucky listener.
Made by Alison's own fair hands.
We've even got some mystery retro British sitcom posters to give away to 2 runners-up.
To enter the draw and be in with a chance of winning, you just need to do one of 2 things.
Yes, you can either join our group on Facebook, the SADDO, Sitcom Archive Deep Dive Overdrive group.
Or you can leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Either or both will do. Then, once you've left us a review or joined the Facebook group, hop on over to the website at saddo.club, click the link that pops up and fill in the quick form to let us know which you did and how we can get in touch with you if you win.
You can even share the contest to gain bonus entries, and then we'll make a random draw and announce the winner and runners-up via our social media channels the week before Christmas.
Apologies if you are outside the UK though. Due to postage costs, this contest is only open to UK residents.
Yeah, sorry about that, but do feel free to share the love and leave us a review anyway, or join the Facebook group.
Good luck, everyone! So they arrive back and they've revived the pig. The pig is okay. It's going to be all right. Barbara's very happy about that. So is the policeman who's come back with them.
He just seemed a weird addition. I don't really understand why they wrote such a large part in for this copper.
I think it was more to do with the actor that played him, George Innes, he was in a lot of sitcoms, TV shows in the 70s.
He was in the Open All Hours and the Italian Job, wasn't he?
He was in Upstairs, Downstairs as well, which is one of my faves.
Did you recognise him without having to look him up?
I did, straight away. Yeah, and he played a creepy guy in that too. He seems to be a bit. He gets those parts all the time.
Margo had an axe to grind with him straight away about a parking ticket, didn't she, when he showed up? So maybe it was just to introduce some tension. I'm not sure. Maybe.
But yeah, he's very happy. He's radioing the station to tell the Sarge that the pig's all right.
Yeah. My Sarge is 2 spaniels and a hamster. Oh, okay. Fair enough, George Innes.
Bye.
Oh, Tom does that fake out thing, which I think is really cruel unless, you know, when you pretend like you failed an exam or failed your driving test, but you've passed it. Yeah. It's fine to do it in those circumstances, but not when you're talking about something that is really emotive. Like in this case, clearly everyone's really worried about the runt.
They want the And
he does that fake out thing, and I'm like, time and a place, lad.
Yeah, don't do it.
So at this point, Jerry's had enough. He sort of finally blows his top and he's like, well, I'm paraphrasing, but he's like, fuck this, and off he goes to bed.
He's knackered, isn't he? He's been on all night.
Yeah. Once the copper goes, and the threat of being booked by George Innes and his guest slot has gone, Jerry disappears. And then there's a little scene about how Margo enjoyed being told what to do by Tom. I think Tom says something like, that kind of woman who wants to be dominated and ordered about by men. Because that's what the criticism of Barbara had been by Margo, and Tom calls Margo out on having enjoyed it herself. Whether she did enjoy it or not, she was just under pressure and thought, I'm going to follow what this fellow's saying because he knows what he's doing. I don't know.
Yeah. And I'm just there to help. And she wasn't she? She was just there to sort of help out.
She did become very subservient, but maybe she was just, in a crisis, she was just sort of bowing to his authority.
Yeah, perhaps. And just getting on with the job. Why? What else should she do? She can't be sort of saying, well, I don't think we should do it that way, actually, Tom. She's no pig expert, is she? She's just going to get on with the job.
She just knows about the swinging in Epsom. She's going to stick to her area of expertise. Sexpertise.
Yes. Maybe she's got a big map. Maybe she's got a big map on a wall where she's sort of like colouring in as it moves further and further towards Surbiton.
Do you think it's like the start of Dad's Army with the nasty things?
Yes. There's arrows pointing towards Surbiton.
But instead of the swastika, it's like the male and female symbols.
That's exactly what she's got in the parlour.
And that's pretty much it. I think everything's good with the world, and the episode ends off there, doesn't it? With the pig.
It does.
Pig breathing in its incubator like a joint of ham wrapped up. Now, there was a couple of other things in this episode, though, I just wanted to talk about. Barbara's very insightful and cutting line to Tom. Damn your efficiency, it's turning into your god. It's really packed with pathos, that line, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's a real hot potato, isn't it, really? Because you can't do self-sufficiency by halves, can you? You can't just do it a bit.
No. And
just dip your toe in. You can have like a window box or a vegetable patch and just be done with it. But to really get to grips with that kind of life, it is such a change in your existence, not just in your day-to-day routine.
It is. And also, I don't know if it's a deliberate part of the writing or just coincidence, but this overt storyline about women being like to being told what to do, you actually had it play out quite differently, because Barbara shouted at Tom and he immediately changed his decision and went to great lengths to save the runt because she'd barked at him. So it was actually more the other way round, really, wasn't it? Yeah. Do you think that was deliberate?
I really don't know, because it almost just gave us a little bit of a glimpse of just, and I know you have your issue with Tom, but Tom as a character in this episode, there was still that glint of compassion and being quite a loving man and sort of empathy towards Barbara. It wasn't just all about the way of life and having self-sufficiency at the centre of it as his God. He did actually sort of back down and take her opinion, whether it would cost him money or not, into consideration.
Well, he put her first, but I'd like to think also that Tom was influenced by the fact he quickly got wrapped up in the fact that he really wanted to save a living creature.
Save a living creature, yeah. Yeah, which again must be part of sort of that life anyway, because you want to, if he saves it, he's able to use it. It becomes part of the circle, doesn't it? It becomes useful.
Well, I don't know if it ever would, with it being a runt. I still don't really understand. Like, it's got 4 legs, it's breathing without difficulty after it comes out the incubator, presumably, and goes on to live.
I think it would just carry on to live and be just like the other ones.
A happy, healthy pig life.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know.
And then get sent to market at the end of it.
Good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life, good life.
So did you have an MVP in this episode?
I did have an MVP. It was Tom.
Tom, okay.
Yeah, it was Tom because of all the things that I've just said then about the fact that he still managed to balance the drive for the lifestyle, but also the compassion for just being a nice guy.
No, fair enough. I was torn between Jerry and Barbara.
Oh, right, okay.
And I'm going to give it to Barbara because I just feel like she's underappreciated in our MVP representation.
Okay,
I wanted to give it to Jerry because he just had some great lines and he was full on snark, and
yeah,
he was just hysterical. I just think he's brilliant in his last
yeah,
series.
he was really good in this episode. Yeah,
but Barbara, basically, she can get what she wants from Tom when she wants it bad enough. She just goes up like a chippy, as you would say.
Yeah,
and she manipulated that situation to get what she wanted, and it was in line with her values. But also, she did a little wiggle of her arse as she was leaving a room in a scene.
She did.
And I particularly enjoyed that little bit. So, therefore, for her arse wiggle, if nothing else, I'm giving it to Barbara.
Excellent.
So, was there anything that caught your eye for Fashion Corner this week, Alison?
There was. Let's head over there now.
Fashion Corner, Fashion Corner. Fashion Corner, Fashion Corner.
My number one mention in Fashion Corner this week was not Margo, it's Barbara.
Oh, wow.
Who, it was a navy and mustard combo that she had on, which is quite sort of en vogue at the moment anyway. in 2020, navy and mustard together. She has like a mustard collared shirt underneath this navy t-shirt kind of top, and it just looked amazing. She just looked so cool. It has, now looking back, it has a bit of a retro feel to it, but those two colours together, and she just seemed to really suit navy blue, does Felicity Kendall. So with jeans, there's a lot of Barbara's fashion that I think, I do covet it quite a lot, and I would definitely love to wear something along those lines. I might go and search out a mustard shirt with a blue top on. And Margo, while she's gardening, she's there with her wheelbarrow accessory, but she's there in like a very rich, like a Cadbury purple sun hat top and striped skirt. It's not really gardening material, it's not gardening attire really, but we know Margo, she's always dressed to the nines doing whatever she's doing, and the hat's a bit of an odd shape, so it's a bit misshapen and huge, but obviously she's very sort of conscious of keeping it out of the sun while she's busy working or looking like she's working in the garden, and she does look fab. My final mention is Margo in the canary yellow dress with it's got like very, very big bat wing arms on it. And when she comes in to try and pester Barbara into joining the pony club with Brian the horse, she sort of like sachets in this canary yellow number. Yeah. Which is beautiful. She rocks it. Obviously, that's where the budget's gone this week. But yeah, she sort of steals the show really. But yeah, my special mention is definitely to Barbara. I say, Ben, do you know what is coming up next week?
You always surprise me with that. I say, yes, next week's episode, Series 3, Episode 3, is called A Tug of the Forelock.
Ooh.
This is the one where Tom and Barbara get some extra money by doing some cleaning and gardening for Margo and Jerry whilst their usual help is away.
Oh, I bet there's some japes. Japes next week.
Well, it's just high expectations, which cause a little bit of a fallout, I think. You can see it coming.
I wouldn't want to be cleaning for Margo.
It's an episode that almost writes itself.
Yes, I can picture it now. So if you're enjoying what we're doing and you want to join in, you can find us at SADDO Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. We're also on Facebook, so you can find us by searching for SADDO Podcast. Subscribe to our newsletter by visiting our website, saddo.club, where you can also get more information about us, and you can read our blog posts and listen to episodes in the browser if you don't do podcast apps. Get in touch. Email us at saddopodcast@gmail.com and tell us all the things that we've missed. Or just tell us what you think. We love that. And subscribe and leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts from.
Thank you to Anya for her fabulous artwork and continuing support. She's doing us some nice designs. If you want to buy a t-shirt, that'll be forthcoming in the near future. And thanks to Beat Raid for our fabulous theme tune. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to you, Alison.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, full of love and thanks for everyone, aren't we?
Yes, it's been good. I've enjoyed this. We will. Goodbye.
I'll see thee. I remembered.